So we had the FOMC meeting a few hours ago, and as expected, we got that 0.25 percent rate cut for the United States interest rates. And this is what everybody expected. We expected a little bit of volatility going into it, during, and a little bit after. So we put a video out a little bit earlier talking about what we expected, and it kind of played out to a T when it comes to Bitcoin and when it comes to Ethereum. So we're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then we'll also look at a couple altcoins before we get up out of here. Just a really quick video, just a really quick update for the community. So right now, the Fed rates they cut a quarter point as we talked about, but it sees two more cuts coming this year. So we do have a little bit of forward guidance. We do have a little bit to look forward to. And this is what I was talking about when I said, okay, the 0.25 is baked in, but now what? Now, what is the Fed going to signal to the market? So they're signaling two more 25% rate cuts or 0.25% rate cuts coming in October and I think December. So markets are going to start to price that in. But what does that mean for right now? What does that mean for the rest of the cycle or the rest of the year? Which I think Q4 will be pretty bullish going into the tail end of our crypto cycle, if you believe in the cycles. So right now, let's talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is sitting at 116,852K. So we came down. This is what we talked about over on the video a little bit earlier. We said, watch out for some swing or some whipsaw action, but we want to hold this upward sloping trend line. We wanted to hold this trend that we came or we started to form ever since the bottom of the market or ever since the local bottom coming at the beginning of September, where we bounced, came back down, bounced, came back down, bounced. Now we almost came down to it once we got that FOMC rate decision or that rate cut, but we just came down to this 114,700 level, which we've been holding as or has been acting as a SR, a support resistance level ever since the 11th. So about almost a week. Got back above it, held it as support, got back above it, held it as support basically, held it as support again, held it as support perfectly here. And now we reclaimed that 116.3K area. And it's looking like we're holding above it going into Friday. So I like what I'm seeing here. I really like that this happened. I knew we were going to get some sort of volatility. That's why I was telling everyone to do not over leverage and do not make usually the first move is the wrong move. That's what we were talking about over the past couple of days. And the first move was down when he started talking. It was down, 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 boom. And then we got that bounce right back above our major key or our major level at about 116.3. And like I said, we're sitting at 116.7. So the major line that we really want to get back above is, of course, that $120,000 level. So I'm going to see how Bitcoin reacts over these next couple days, seeing if the markets digest it, seeing how the markets digest it, rather, seeing how, the S&P, the NASDAQ looks like. Let's look at the futures. So the NASDAQ is up, US 500 is up. So the futures are up for the stocks. So it looks like we're going to continue this rally. And I think this rally will continue. I think, a lot of people thought it was going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news. At first, it looked like that, but we warned not to trust that first move. So I think as long as we can hover and stay above this 116K area, we should be fine. And then just getting back above this 120. This is when the party is back on. This is when everybody should start to get mega bullish again. Right now, we're bullish. I mean, we're bullish. We're in a massive uptrend, a very nice uptrend. We're above a key level at 116K, and we're in our range. This has been one of the most pivotal ranges of this year, this 116 to 120K area or range. So we're back in the range. Looks like we want to get back above this midpoint area at about 117.5, 118K, but ultimately getting back above this $120,000 level, that's when it'll probably be time to go all in. So Bitcoin is going to show us, or the market is going to show us, the technicals are going to show us when it's time to go all in. We haven't seen Bitcoin dominance take the reign like we wanted or like we thought was going to happen going into the rate cut or into September. We thought that Bitcoin dominance was going to start to run massively. So maybe this does start to run massively, and I would love to see that. I would love to see Bitcoin dominance get back above this 59% area and ultimately get back in this 60 to 62% area. Then we roll over going towards the tail end of the year, going into our massive altcoin season. I think that'll be a sustainable altcoin season or a longer altcoin season than what we've been getting over the past few months. We get like a week or two, not even 2 weeks. We'll get like a few days of altcoins running, and then it would just go, they'll just die down. Then we'll get another few days, a few weeks later, and then altcoins will bleed again. So if we want to get a sustainable altcoin season, I think Bitcoin dominance needs to go up while Bitcoin goes up, while Bitcoin reclaims that $120,000 level, ultimately breaking all-time highs back above that 124K level. I want to see Bitcoin dominance rise. And then I think, going into the tail end of Q4 as Bitcoin starts to top out or, go sideways to down, that Bitcoin dominance rolls over, and then we can get a sustainable altcoin season. Speaking of altcoins, we got Ethereum. We talked about this perfectly. Ethereum played out perfectly to a T from our video earlier before the Fed press conference. We said we were in this bullish descending broadening wedge. Watch out for some sort of a flush out down to about 4,400. And then ultimately we thought this was a bullish pattern, and it turned out to be a bullish pattern. So if we go to the hourly, we can see a little more. We can get a little more. Let's actually go to the 15. We can get um, a little more information as to what happened. So we came down, like I said, to that 40, we got down to about almost 4,400. We got down to 4,406, popped right back up, retest, and then now we're sitting at 4,620. So I like this. I like this very much. I like this breakout. I think Ethereum can make its way back to our red bar here at about 4,770, going up to about 4,800. And this is what we wanted to see. So we want to see a continuation. It looks like we just broke out of a flag on a smaller time frame. So we can just draw this like this, make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see. So it looks like we were flagging here. Boom, boom, measured move for this. Let's do it like this. So we have a measured move of this coming in at about 4,700. But ultimately, I want to see us make our way back up to this 4,770. And I have an alert set here for if we do start to break out. So if we start to break out, so we didn't take this trade. So the trade I'll be looking for is consolidation, possibly some sort of a bull flag under here, breakout, retest, and then, making our way back up to that 49 to 5K area. I think the bulls are back. I think the bulls are we're going to see what happens over the next few days. But I think once we start to get a little bit momentum going back, now we don't have any type of headwinds really coming in. We do have some economic data that's going to start coming in where the unemployment is possibly going to start being bad news. But I think with the rate cuts started today and then the rate cuts coming in October and December, that's a green light for the markets to run. So we're going to be watching Bitcoin. We're going to be watching Ethereum to get back above this 4770 area. And then, of course, we have to watch Solana, which has been on our radar for over the past few weeks. We'll say about 3-4 weeks. We were talking about Solana before, it started its nice run. We've been talking about it, and we said, once we can get above that 205K, well, the $205 area. Let's go down and see what I'm talking about. Once we can get back above this red bar, I thought, I was saying, okay, sky's the limit. I think we can start to make our way back to all-time highs at about almost 300. I think it was like 295. We can look. And then, making our way past that. Not sure how high we can go for Solana, but I'm very bullish on Solana. Right now, I don't think it's time. You had an entry to get in at about 232. You want to watch out for this 232 level. This has been a major area of support over the past since the 11th. So we came up, came down again, came down again, came down today, and we bounced up. So the next trade or the next short trade, if you want to look for an entry, I would look for a breakout here, possibly coming up to take some of these highs out at about 250, retesting if we get some sort of a drawdown or a pullback at about 240 to 245, and then making our way up to our take profit level at 265, and then we have some at 275, and then of course we have it at our all-time high at 295. So we're watching Bitcoin, we're watching Ethereum, we're watching Solana. We think some good things can happen over the next few weeks. And historically, October is bullish, November is bullish. So I think this will be open season for us to maintain some strength going into, like I said, the beginning and then the mid to tail end of Q4. I'm not sure if the cycle is going to be a super cycle and this and that. We have all different type of headwinds. We're cutting rates into inflation, which is hasn't happened in a very long time. So we'll continue to be data dependent as well. But on the bigger scope, we're going to be watching for Bitcoin and the crypto market to do what we thought or would do what we think is going to happen, and that's rallying into the end of the year. So, is it time to go all in? I mean, I can't tell you. Me personally, I'm pretty much already all in, but when it comes to trading, then we'll definitely act accordingly, and it'll always be some sort of a opportunity in the market. Always an opportunity in the market. So many opportunities in the market. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you come over to the Cool Kids Alpha Club where I give real time news, charts, analysis, data, real time trade setups, things like that. Link will be in the pinned comment, and we'll just keep the community updated. But I think now we have this rate cut, this FOMC behind us. Now we can be a little bit more forward looking, especially with the forward guidance that they give or that they gave, talking about those 0.25, two more 0.25 rate cuts, and possibly even more if the unemployment or if the employment data starts to come in a little bit bad. But what we don't want to see is it start coming in too bad, and then the bad news will be bad news. So I think it is bullish. I think we are bullish, especially if we hold this 116K area, which we're hovering around right now. I think the markets are still digesting. The markets are still trying to figure out if the news or if this is the direction that it wants to go. So usually after rate cuts and things like this, we usually get those first moves, and then we let the market digest, and then we'll see what happens over the next day or two, and then we'll make some assumptions and we'll make some moves and some decisions from there. But I'm thinking we're going to be bullish. I'm hoping we're going to be bullish. But like I said, I want to see Bitcoin take the shine. I want to see Bitcoin take the shine. I don't think this is going to be sustainable for any type of altcoin season while Bitcoin dominance is this low, and while Bitcoin has not broken out of that $120,000 area and breaking out to a new all-time high. So until that happens, I don't think it's exciting yet. It's just pre exciting. We'll get one thing behind us, so we just need to wait and see, what Bitcoin is going to do. So this is FD White, just a quick update. Appreciate everybody who's been watching. Make sure you like, subscribe. Links down in the comments or links down in the description if you want to support the channel to some exchanges. We have some very good deals going on. So thank you, appreciate it, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.